Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be having a look at the James Bond movie adaptation paperbacks that were published predominantly in the UK by Pan Books. So that's what we're going to have a look at today. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so this is our first movie tie-in, and this is published by Pan in the UK, and it is of course for Dr. No, the first of the James Bond movies. So this will start a bit of a trend with the James Bond movie adaptations in that they feature stills from the movie. In this case we've got Connery and Ursula Andress. Also get quite a nice still on the back there. Joseph Wiseman as Dr. No. And Sean Connery as Bond. Excellent stuff this. By this time, of course, by 1962, the Bond books, or the Fleming novels, were selling by the bucket load. So it made obvious sense for Pan to do a movie tie-in. This one dated 1963. So that's Dr. No. And the next one we've got is From Russia with Love. Once again, got a nice photo cover. This is quite interesting in that it's got almost to sort of show that it's a film edition. It's got like this film reel effect, which has got little holes punched out. This would have been extremely expensive to produce at the time, but because the Bond books were selling in such massive numbers, it probably made sense for them to do it without hesitation, and that's what they've done. And they've done it as like a film. This particular tie-in edition is dated 63 again. Next one we've got is Goldfinger, which was a 1964 film. So the all gold cover there. In fact, that's actually like a little wraparound if we have a little look at that. This is Pan X238, if you are interested in the series number. This one dated 1964. And once again, these are just taking the original Fleming novels and putting a movie jacket on them. These are not new adaptations of the films by any means at all. Number 4 was Thunderball. Now, Thunderball is quite interesting. It's got this great cover. It's actually really difficult to find this one in nice condition, in like a high grade. This one isn't bad, but it's probably about the third or fourth one I've had through my hands now, and they really went to town with the illustrations on the front of this one, all those great underwater scenes as well. And one thing that is quite interesting is this particular one did come with this letter. So this is the 14th edition from 1965, and certain copies came with this like letter here. Now it's basically tying in with the book, and it's sort of saying it's Domino's letter is what it's called from. It's Domino writing to James Bond saying how he must check out the casino. And it's got that at the bottom there. P.S. Came across this book in Nassau yesterday. You must read pages 152 to 155. Now, as you can see, this was loosely inserted inside copies of Thunderball, and apparently that leaflet is actually really, really expensive to buy an original of. This one here, well, that cost me £1. It was off eBay. It's a complete reprint. I'm not going to pay £1,000 for a bit of paper like that. However, if you do see this film edition of Thunderball, just flick through. If you come across that letter, it's like finding £1,000. All right, because apparently that's what they go for. Not for me, but apparently. Okay, so the next James Bond film after Thunderball, well, there was two, wasn't there? So there was the David Niven adaptation of Casino Royale, which did in fact come with this tie-in, which Pan published, and this is to tie into the non-Eon production of Casino Royale. And there's the cast on the back there. We've got Peter Sellers, Ursula Andress, David Niven, Orson Welles, Woody Allen, and I suppose it's a historical curiosity. 1965, this one. If you are collecting the film tie-ins, you're going to have to get a copy of that one. And then we've actually got You Only Live Twice, which was from 1967. Now, for some reason, I've got 2 copies of this, and I am not 100% sure why. I always know all the copies that I've had are very, very short in that. Let's put it next to a normal sized paperback. Well, that one's not quite the same, but it's like they've been cut slightly. So that's like Thunderball. And if you have a look there, these You Only Live Twice is just a little bit shorter. And I think the first movie adaptation of You Only Live Twice, they're all cut like that. For some reason, I honestly don't know why. Maybe someone can tell me in the comments. But certainly a great film, You Only Live Twice, certainly one of my favourites. And they've done a great job with that cover there. A nice selection of stills from the movie. And this one, this is 1966, this one. All right. Now, the next one we've got is another great one, which is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Now, I've always said that this is my favourite James Bond film, and I still stand by that. It's certainly one that I absolutely love. Now, I did recently see some information on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and it was on the great Pan Books website, ticket.net. So I urge you to go along there. And what Tim had uncovered was some window displays for W.H. Smith from around the time that this book was being published. And it was window displays full of On Her Majesty's Secret Service books, posters, memorabilia. And included in there was a rather nice standee. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause there. I'm going to put this book in situ and we'll have a look at the standee. So just look at that. That's a little cardboard standee from about 1968, 1969. It wouldn't have just been used for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. It would have been used for any sort of film tie-in around that sort of period in the 60s. But these standees are extremely rare, and I think it sets off On Her Majesty's particularly well. So I did just want to show you that one as it is. The next one we've got is not actually a James Bond one, but it is sort of Bond related. It is by Ian Fleming. It was made by Eon, and it is the novelisation of Chitty, Chitty, Bang Bang. A great little film in its own right. And this film adaptation comes with a few stills from the movie in colour. What a shame some of the Bond ones didn't do that. This was adapted by John Burke. Although the original books were written by Ian Fleming. Next one we've got is Diamonds Are Forever. So by this time ISBNs had started, so the books have got their own sort of ISBNs. Still published by Pan though. Once again, because of its black cover, this is another one that can prove quite tricky to find in nice condition. This one here, 25th printing, from 1972. Interesting to see Vegas in the background there, so I've just come back from. So that's Diamonds Are Forever. Next one we've got is Live and Let Die, which was the film for 1973. It's got a really nice painted jacket. One of the movie posters put onto the jacket there. Still of Roger Moore and Jane Seymour there on the back. Really good book. This one of my favourites of the Fleming novels. This one dated 1973. That's Live and Let Die. Next one we've got is The Man with the Golden Gun. This is also published by Pam. This particular copy has been signed by Maud Adams and Britt Eklund on the front. I never got around to meeting Roger Moore. A real shame that I've got his signature on a few bits and bobs, but I never actually got to meet him, so I was absolutely gutted when he passed away. Great movie adaptation. It's just what you want to see, really. Some nice stills from the movie, and a great novel to boot. And this one was dated 1974. Then we have a little bit of a gap, and then in 1977 we get The Spy Who Loved Me. Now, this is a bit of a departure because it's not written by Ian Fleming. This is an adaptation of the film now by Christopher Wood. So this is a new name on the Bond scene. Also a new publisher. This is published by Panther rather than Pan Books. Same sort of thing. It's got, it's got that photo of Roger Moore on the front. Not the greatest. I mean, they could have easily used the movie poster, which would have been much better. Because it was such a good movie artwork. Dated 1977. It did have a hardback, this one, like a Moonraker later on. I suppose it is what it is. That's The Spy Who Loved Me, movie adaptation. Closely followed then a couple of years later by Moonraker, you know, the James Bond Star Wars reaction. Everything seemed to be going in space by then. And once again, they used the services of Christopher Wood to publish, to write the novel, and published by Panther in the UK again. This one dated 79, the adaptation of Moonraker. Nice jacket on that one. Now, the next one's a bit more unusual. So, For Your Eyes Only did not get its own movie adaptation. However, Marvel Comics in America did adapt it into a 2-part comic book series, a mini-series of just 2 issues, of which in the UK it was released as a hardback annual, and in America it was released as a Marvel Illustrated paperback. So this is the adaptation of For Your Eyes Only, and it's as close as you're going to get to the adaptation of For Your Eyes Only, but it is, alas, in comic book form, so perhaps not what you might expect. And this one's dated 1981. Actually really good, this. They didn't do a bad job of this one. Marvel did also adapt Octopussy, however it didn't come out as a paperback. So alas, we've not got anything for Octopussy, or A View to a Kill, or The Living Daylights. The next James Bond film that had a movie adaptation was License to Kill. And this was by then John Gardner, who was writing James Bond fiction in the style of Fleming. And he was the obvious person to do this adaptation of License to Kill. And I think they did a very good job of it, to be honest. I think Dalton's an underrated Bond. I do prefer The Living Daylights, however, to License to Kill. But there you go, personal opinion. The next one we've got was Goldeneye. So the first Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. John Gardner again, based on the screenplay. So he did the chores. Familiar few faces on the back there. Sean Bean. And Goldeneye in paperback was released in 1995. Then in 1997, the torch, as it were, gets passed to Raymond Benson. So Raymond Benson, once again, sort of took over from John Gardner writing the James Bond adaptations. Not adaptations, but James Bond novels, fresh, brand new James Bond fiction. So once again, it seemed right that he was the person selected to do the adaptation of Tomorrow Never Dies. And a lot of people say he did a very good job of it. Very, very similar format to the last one, with a few little stills on the back. This was published by Coronet in the UK. And that's Tomorrow Never Dies. The next one is The World Is Not Enough. So this is for 1999. Once again, Raymond Benson, based on the screenplay. It's got a Winner PlayStation and 007's Tomorrow Never Dies on the front. This is a better reworking of the movie poster. Coronet again. This one's saying all 18 James Bond movies are available on video. Well, we knew that anyway. The paperback here is dated 1999 as well. And then finally, the last one, which came out in movie tie-in edition, is Die Another Day from 2002. Once again, published by Coronet. Got the same cover there, Halle Berry and Brosnan. Raymond Benson doing the writing chores. Similar little montage on the back. $6.99 this one, so not cheap. The dearest one by any means. It was 2002. and that was the last time they did a James Bond movie adaptation. The Daniel Craig stories have images of him have been put on some of the Ian Fleming backlist by Penguin Books, but they're not specific movie tie-in editions, so that's why they're not here in this particular video. But I think they do make quite a fun little set to collect. They're not difficult to get. You have to remember, particularly with the early books, that the print runs on these were absolutely enormous. So they're not hard to get. The only tricky bit is trying to find them in nice condition. But they are all out there, particularly these later ones are dirt cheap. They're just a couple of pounds each. But the early ones, to try and find them in nice nick, you're going to have a bit of an issue, but they're out there if you're patient. And don't forget to look out for that domino letter from Thunderball, because that's worth a few pounds if you find one of them. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed that little look at these James Bond movie adaptation paperbacks. Now, if you have enjoyed the video, do please give it a thumbs up and do consider subscribing for regular vintage James Bond content. There's already some on my channel and I've got lots more planned, so do check that out. Thanks once again for watching and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.